So now we have dimensional analysis. Okay, so this is a very important subject that you're going to need really the entire duration of your chemistry career. Okay, or at least that's in general chemistry 1 or 2 if you're taking any one of those. Okay, so you definitely need to know how to do this. Okay, so units, like I've been saying, man, units are so important. Units are so important. So units are going to be included in every single calculation you do in chemistry. Okay, so that's the first thing you need to realize. You need to have a unit. If you don't have a unit, we don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so you need to have a unit. Okay, so when we're talking about dimensional analysis, what we're really talking about is converting units. Okay, that's all we're talking about, converting units. Okay, and because of this converting units, what we're going to notice is that this is going to require us to cancel our units. All right, using some algebra in a little ways. Okay, but basically, okay, we're just converting units. That's all dimensional analysis is. We about to convert units, convert units, convert units. Okay, so we're converting units by using conversion factors. Okay, so a conversion factor is basically a fraction, okay, that's going to have a bottom and a top. Okay, and depending on that fraction, all right, it's going to be depending on what you're trying to convert to. Okay, so conversion factors are used to change your units. Okay, and they can be inverted for whatever unit is needed. We understand that we only have 24 hours in this day to get our things done. Okay, that's always how it's been. One day, there's 24 hours. But on the flip side, if you have 24 hours, 24 carats, right? 24 hours, okay? So if you have 24 hours, then you have one day. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. That's the reason why we see this one here. It's the same thing. If one day is 24 hours and there's 24 hours in one day, it does not matter. It's always going to be that conversion, right? It's never going to change. You're never going to see 25 hours in one day, okay? You're never going to have 2 days in 24 hours, okay? It's always going to be these things. That's how we are defining these conversion factors. All right, it's the same also if we're talking about minutes in a day, right? If you have one day, you have 1440 minutes in that day. Okay. But that's also saying that for every 1,440 minutes, that's one whole day. Okay. So this is how we have to think about these conversion factors. All right. You got a top portion with a unit, you got a bottom portion with a unit. You're never going to change the number. Okay, the numbers don't change and the units don't change. It's always going to stay that. Okay, but you can use these conversion factors to convert from one unit to another unit. So let's look at this example here. How many days are in 168 hours? So let's think about this. Let's think about this. First off, this question is asking me for how many days. Okay, so I know that I realize, right, my final answer needs to be in days. And then what do they give me? Right? What do they give me? So when you're doing these type of dimensional analysis problems, start with your give me, right? They give me 168 hours. Okay, that's what's given to me. So, right, I know that I'm going to convert 168 hours, my give me, to my final product, days, right? Because that's how much they're trying to, that's what they want me to figure out. That's what I need to figure out. So I'm going to put my give me first. So you always start off with your give me. 168 hours. Bam. And then the next step is to use that conversion factor to get to your final answer, which in this case, days. Now let's talk about this step because this is the most important step you need to understand. How are we going to use this conversion factor? Okay, so I understand that there's hours and days. There's hours and days. And as I mentioned before, right, there's only 24 hours and one day. There's one day in 24 hours. Okay. So when we're talking about dimensional analysis, which is converting units while canceling out units, this is all we're about to do. I need to figure out a way to cancel out my hours here. How am I going to do that? By using this conversion factor. I'm going to put my 24 hours on the bottom. And I'm going to put my one day on the top. Now, Dr. J, why are you doing it this way? Okay. The reason why I have my hours on the bottom is because I'm trying to cancel out my units. All right. I got hours on my top, right? Because just to let everybody know, right? 168 hours is, think of this as a fraction. It's over 1. It's over 1. Okay. So 168 hours times 1 day over 24 hours. Okay. So now my hours are on my top and my hours are going to be on the bottom here. So they can cancel out, right? The top will always cancel out the bottom. The bottom cancels out with the top. So when my hours are canceled out, I'm only left with days. Okay, so this is the unit that's going to be left over. Okay, so since this is the unit left over, that's going to be my unit in my final answer, days. Okay, so how I like to think about it, right? Worry about the units first, then the numbers. So if I know what units are being canceled out, I can get that out the way. Okay, so I canceled out my hours, I'm left with days. Bam, there's my days. Now let's think about the numbers. So notice this is a multiplication, right? So now I got 168 hours times 1 over 24. Okay, so if we understand this right, we're going to need to divide 168 divided by 24. And this is how we get our number of 7. Okay, because 168 divided by 24 is 7. Okay. So this is telling me, right, with dimensional analysis, this is the thing I love about dimensional analysis, is that for every 168 hours, there are 7 days. Okay. And I didn't have to do it like the long way, right? Some of y'all would have probably been like, okay, how many days is in 168 hours? Let me count it up. Well, I know one day is 24 hours. So 24 plus another 24 is 48. And 48 plus 24 is 72. And 72 plus 24, like that's going to take, you just add in there, it's going to take forever. Okay, it's going to take forever. This way is a lot faster. All I had to do, 168 divided by 24, bam, that's 7 days. Okay, that's 7 days. Okay, now, definitely I want everybody to go practice problems. This is something that you will not understand on the first go. I don't expect anybody to understand this on the first go. I'm not that magical, so please don't give me all that credit. I need you all to go put in that work and do some practice problems. Okay, do some practice problems. More practice problems are on the way. More practice problems are on the way. But for now, this is dimensional analysis. All dimensional analysis is converting units while canceling units out. That's it. And we use conversion factors to do that.